It is May 2023, and like our weather right now, the real estate market is also so hot. And typically in this video, we start out looking at some news articles. Today, we're going to answer 5 questions that we have gotten that I think are really going to help a lot of you understand where the current market is, and then we're going to jump into some stats. So here we go. So the first question that we have is, what is the current state of the Calgary housing market and where is it headed? Well, the Calgary real estate market is really, really hot. We have really low inventory, and ultimately we've seen prices increasing. We have actually hit a record benchmark price forever, like ever in the city of Calgary recently this past month, and it's probably going to continue to go up if we continue to have lower inventory and higher demand. That's just where things are headed. Now, the second question is, when is the best time to buy or sell a house in Calgary? And what factors should be considered? Well, there's a lot of factors that should be considered. Typically, in a normal market, you have more buyers interested in a spring and a fall market, and it's a little bit slower in the summer and the winters. Now, you can kind of argue from all sides of the coin, essentially, that any of these times can be good to sell your home. The reality is, in this market, when we have so many buyers that are really interested and really need a property, selling your home at any time is going to be good. My only caution is selling your home and not knowing where you're going, because if you don't know where you're moving to, it might be hard to find the next property because you might have to be in multiple offers. So be careful with that and don't allow anyone to tell you otherwise and put yourself into a situation. And to be honest, if you need a second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, our team is here to help you with that here in Calgary and surrounding area, and we want to do that. All right, now the third question is, with the current tight rental market in Calgary, is this going to lead to further price increases? And what impact will this have on people struggling with housing affordability? The reality is, yes, it's not going to get any better before it gets worse or whatever it is, right? Like, it's going to continue. Prices are going to continue to go up. It's supply demand, right? If you have 5 people that want an apple and there's only one apple, the price of the apple is going to go up. So the reality is if there's only one place for rent and 5 people want that rent, the landlord can increase. We had just heard this morning from one of our team's clients who has decided to purchase a home instead of staying in a rental because his rent went up 38%. That's a lot of an increase. That's a huge number for someone to take on that load, which actually leads into some of our market data, because apartments have become really popular and they're flying off the shelf right now. It's just simple supply and demand. That's the reality of it. Tight rental market, low supply, high demand. We're just going to continue to see price increases happening into this next year and maybe even further. I don't know. But as long as that formula stays the same, prices will continue to go up. Now, the question number 4, with the housing market being so competitive, what are some tips for buyers to make a successful offer and secure their desired property? Well, here's my dilemma. If you're not using our team and you're using my tips for, competing against agents on our team and their buyers, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. But I'm not here to hold back. I want to help you guys figure this out. The reality is, the best thing that you can do is be completely prepared. And how you do that, you might want to ask your agent that you're working with, or if you're working with us or you need an agent, come ask us. But you need to have the right mortgage broker on your team who is willing and able to go, let's just call it the extra mile, to make sure and be able to help you figure out how to do sometimes no financing condition on an offer. You also need to figure out how to have the right wording for any escalation clauses. The price, the dollar value you put in those is really important. And all of that stuff is super valuable. And lastly is kind of your home inspection stuff. So a lot of times when you buy properties, you have condo doc inspections, home inspections, financing inspections. If you're in a multiple offer and you have someone who's writing an offer unconditional, it's sometimes hard to compete against that. So you have to figure out this balance of what you can and what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with and what you're not going to do. And so that's where you have to figure that out for yourself. But with our team, we want to work with you on a strategy, come up with the right things, figure that out, and most importantly, have the right mortgage broker in place so that they are actually able to help you really put your best foot forward. Because if it's the right house, you need to win because it's the one you need to get. I hope that helps. So question number 5 is, how are interest rates affecting the housing market in Calgary? And what can buyers expect in terms of mortgages and mortgage rates in the near future? From everything I've read, every person I've talked to about mortgages, most likely we're going to see mortgage rates stay very, very similar throughout maybe most of this year. We're not going to see big swings up. We're not going to see big swings down. The reality is we're going to see what we're seeing. How is that playing out in our market? I think it's not as big of an impact as some buyers and sellers might think. If you aren't used to or expecting to have a 1.6% interest rate, which is crazy low, a 4.5% interest rate in this market and historically is really good. Like, it's a really good interest rate. And so if you're sitting around that mid 4s for your interest rate, I don't think buyers that are coming into the market because they're tired of renting, maybe they're first-time buyers, or maybe they've saved up money and finally they're ready to buy something, or they're coming from somewhere less affordable to Calgary, which is more affordable. I don't think the interest rates play a fact for them. Like, it's not a big issue. And so I don't think it's going to slow our market. It's not going to dampen our market. It's like, again, supply and demand. We have a low supply and high demand, and interest rates kind of are in a decent place. So they're not going to have that much of a factor when it comes to our market. So if you are new to our channel, my name is Jared Chamberlain, and I run the Chamberlain Real Estate Group at Real Broker. We are a local team serving Calgary. We've been at this for a couple of decades now, and it's flown by, and we're having fun. We've helped thousands of clients over the years, and we'd love to help you as well. So if you're interested in a conversation, you want help in this market, feel free to reach out to us, or just start binge watching all of our content. We got so much content on YouTube here that is going to help you figure out how to navigate the Calgary real estate market right now, because it is so hot. Now, let's jump into the stats. Let's look at what's happening. If you go into the description, you are going to find a link to this guide that goes much deeper than what I'm going to go through in this video. Has a lot more stats in it, and it's really pretty. It's really good. I love it. It's really great. I work hard at making these things for you guys so you have some great content, great data, great information that you're able to use in the marketplace. So first thing we want to look at, the first thing you're probably going to see in the news is this benchmark price. Kind of looks underwhelming when you just circle it right there. But what has happened is the highest peak benchmark price that Calgary has ever seen was last May at $546,000. Last month, we had $550,800. And if you recall, in our last video, I actually did say something that we could potentially see us breaking the $600,000 mark in Calgary this year for benchmark prices. And I still think that. I think that might happen. I don't fully know, but that's my prediction for this year and what we could end up seeing by the end of the year. You can see here the blue and the red. Blue is the active inventory, red is the sales. And in 2022, you can see how tight the market got in the spring. The red and the blue were pretty much on par with each other. You look back to some past years, look how much of a gap there is in these values. Right here, look how closely those two are coming together. So this is a very, very clear indicator that our market is really tight. We have low inventory, which is very clear because if you look back, and I don't know if it's going to allow me to make a straight line here. There we go. You look back, like our inventory is very low compared to historical years, but our sales are still a lot higher than what they have even back in these years in the middle here. A lot of circles on that chart now, but I hope that you understand that. Now, the one thing that I'm finding very interesting right now is condos. If you have a condo and you've wanted to sell it for a while, you need to talk to us, because the market right now is in a place where it's kind of ready to take on condos. There are buyers that are interested, buyers that are moving here. And I actually today I had a great conversation with Erica. Hello, Erica, if you're watching. I had a great conversation with Erica talking about moving from BC to Calgary and figuring out kind of a condo because she's buying her first property and trying to figure that out. And I do believe that in making a change in Calgary, there is a mind shift that is happening. So what is happening in Calgary is buyers before were not totally open to the idea of long-term living in condos. And I have said for probably the last 10, 15 years, the only way that the market in Calgary is going to explode or do well, the condo market, I should say, is if the general buyer is okay with living in a condo well into their 30s, maybe they have their first kid, those kind of things. So what that means is there would have to actually be a mind shift, a change in the mindset of the people who live in Calgary. And I was like, that's never going to happen because you're not just going to change the mindset of what people are thinking about things. So what happened the last couple of years is we haven't necessarily changed the mindset, but the market has changed it for us. Now, what I mean by this, twofold. First thing is the market changed in terms of pricing. So things have got more expensive. So it's actually forced some buyers to have to go into the condo market because that's what they can afford. That's the first thing. The second thing is there are some, not all, so I want you to make sure this is very clear, not all buyers are from outside of Calgary, like Toronto and some Vancouver, but mainly Toronto, are open. And I'm talking about like the core of Toronto. I'm not talking about GTA, but like people who are coming from the core of Toronto, downtown living, not all of them are wanting to move into a condo, but some are, again, based on what they can afford. And so if you have people who are moving here, and a lot of you are moving here from those places, and you're bringing that mindset with you, that can impact the mindset of the city that you're moving to. And so what is happening is, I want to zoom in. This here is the number of sales each month since 2013, and lots of numbers and charts in here, but here's what I want to focus on. The red is your single family homes. This is your red line. And as you can see that when you look at the dotted line going backwards, the current number of sales, like we aren't even close to some of those peaks that we saw in 2021 and 2022. So there's a lot less sales that are happening compared to years past and those months past, okay? Now, if you look at the blue, which is semi-detached properties on the bottom, again, they've got some pretty high peaks over in 2022 specifically. It is kind of matching some of the 2021 numbers, and we are higher than 2020. Well, spring 2020, there was not a lot going on. I mean, in home sales, that is. And then the gray is your townhouse. It's a little bit harder to see that one because it kind of blends into the green until it breaks out in 2022. But again, you have a peak of the gray right up in there. And again, it's not even close to that. The only one that is your apartments, your condo apartments. We are only 4% shy of the record sales from last year in May so this year, okay? So April is only 4% shy of last year's May record-setting number. And when we go through this month of May, we will probably set a new record in the amount of sales for apartments in the city. Now, what does that mean? This means probably a bunch of things, but the main things are you can finally sell. If you had a condo and you couldn't sell it for years, it turned into a rental, tired of being a landlord, give us a call and we can help you figure out a strategy to put your condo in front of these buyers that are interested in this type of property. Second thing is values. Values are starting to increase, and they have increased. Along with everything else in the city, condos are increasing, the apartments. And so you might be able to finally make some money on the condo that you bought back in 2014, 2009, 2007, at those timeframes where they were high. You potentially are making that money back now. And so it might make sense to sell the condo. And the best part is you have buyers that are ready to buy them. That's amazing. That hasn't always been the case in the history of Calgary. So that's what I want to show you. That to me is the big news of this month of what it's showing. But let's continue on. So sales and new listings. What I find interesting in this chart is typically, and if you look back, all the spring markets are pretty flat. This one was different. That's 2019. Some of these actually had little glitches, but the last couple years since 2020, all of them have been straight up right up until probably mid-June, July, somewhere in there. Maybe May, June, somewhere in there. We have already kind of peaked in terms of the number of new listings coming on. It's dropped from last month. So are we going to see new listings go up like this as we move into the summer months? That's my guess. I don't think we will. We might start seeing it kind of in this area, like it's going to stay fairly same. Again, it's just there's a lack of inventory. My hope is that we can see it grow and there's more new listings coming on the market. Things get put on in the coming weeks and months. That is my hope because there is such strong demand. And if you look at, let's get rid of some of this stuff. If you look at how close these sales are keeping up with the new listings, stuff just gets eaten up. One of the things that we do is we do a lot of SEO on our website. And I was pulling all the number of detached properties. It's been around 1,000 to 1,200 detached homes on the market in Calgary. There was one day we actually saw about 1,600 detached homes. And I was like, this is amazing. Like finally there's some inventory coming on. Well, wait a couple more days. And what was the inventory number? Yeah, back to 1,100, 1,200. Like the properties just got bought up. Like it just happened overnight. And that is the market that we're in. Stuff is moving so quickly. And it's very clear in all of the charts. Again, this is your benchmark prices. So I already talked about this, but this is your 550 line. And it's really hard to see it because the number that we are at is 550, 800. And that's the number that we're sitting at when we're looking at this market. And so it's barely just over. Now, by the end of this year, could we end up seeing that number come up into this 600 price range? If the market stays the way that it is, there is a really good chance that we could. The other thing is your months of inventory. So how long are things taking to sell? Well, we are on a solid downward trend further into a seller's market for the whole city of Calgary. And that's just the reality of where we're at, is it's going further into a seller's market. This last couple weeks, since July of last year, this is the first time the rolling 30-day number of sales has actually surpassed the number of active inventory in the city. So that is just showing you how quickly things are moving. And I'm going to show you some charts for all of you that love Okotoks, Airdrie, Cochrane, and Chestermere. I'm going to show you the same charts because there's a lot of activity happening in those towns and cities as well. This here is our days of inventory, 30-day, 7-day inventory. The red line is your 30-day, which kind of is a lead indicator to the blue line, which is your 30-day. And this is just staying low. You're just having low inventory or low inventory. And it's just the 7-day is just indicating what the 30-day is going to do. And it's going to stay down there for a while. Collective days on market. We are probably sitting right around the mid-20s days on market. When we walked into this year, we're probably around the 50. So again, you got this beautiful hill that has happened, and this is most likely going to, in the future, stay right in this area, probably around that 20. As long as we have less than a month's of inventory, that number will stay below 30. Airdrie. So those of you that like Airdrie, that live in Airdrie, or wondering about Airdrie, in our report that we have, that you can download, we have lots more information about Airdrie, Cochrane, all of these areas. But these are the main charts I wanted to show you. And like Calgary, since March, maybe mid-March, second or third week of March, you actually saw the number of sales, the 30-day rolling number of sales, be greater than the actives. And look how it is taking off and active inventory is dropping off. That kind of just tells its own picture right there. Cochrane, this is insane. Look at January. Like, look how the market kind of just fell away from November over Christmas. And look how madly it has come back. as well as, again, just probably in the last week or so, surpassing again the active number for the last 30 days rolling sales. And then if you look at Chestermere, so Chestermere doesn't follow the same trends as the other areas around the city because it is more of a lake community. And they have their peak selling times actually probably during the summer or the warmer months. And so what is different about this than what you normally see in Chestermere is the last couple of weeks, how quickly it has started the number of sales started to take off. And you can also see how in the last 2 weeks, the number of actives has jumped from 75 maybe up to about 80 or 90. So there's just more listings that have come on, and most likely they're getting bought up. So if you are thinking of buying in Chestermere, you might have more challenges or more competition as you go into the summer months than you thought or were compared to previous years. And if you're planning on selling in Chestermere, you definitely have an audience that is watching you. And this number is very close to what it was last summer. So just kind of know that and expect the things to be a little bit busier in Chestermere moving forward. And Okotoks, oh my goodness, even before March, like look at this chart. Back here is when it finally crossed. So that was probably mid-February. And look at the gap that was created between sales and actives. And it's just been bouncing around like crazy in terms of more sold than actives. There's literally less than 50 houses, like 50 properties available in Okotoks right now. That's crazy. Like there's literally no market, no inventory there. And so that's the stats that we have. And I hope you find this helpful, especially in these other areas, because there's a lot that's happening. A lot of you who are moving from out of town are interested in those areas. And so here's some stats, some information for you. But if you like this video, you like what you're looking at, here are a couple communities and neighborhoods that are just ready for massive growth. So we love to see you over on those videos, as well as down here, you can subscribe and like our channel if you find this stuff helpful. And again, if you're new here, welcome, and we'll see you guys all on that next video.